Call to order, now to Sylva's Board of Adjustment meeting. The pro tem is gonna handle the proceedings here with this. Then I'll
Yeah,
turn this over to you.
Welcome, everyone. A quasi judicial meeting is an evidentiary hearing where the Town of Sylva Board of Adjustment will make a decision based solely on competent material and substantial evidence in the record. The record is all of the materials and input that is presented to the board, including the application, exhibits, testimony, and related materials. The record may include some insufficient evidence, but the board may not base its decision on it. These types of hearings are conducted in a manner similar to courts. Examples of those withstanding include the applicant, a person with legal interest in the subject property, or a person who will suffer special damages as a result of the decision. The next item on the agenda is a request from RLJ Land Development LLC for a variance from the required section 7.2.c.2 design standards for lots, section 7.3.c exterior materials on buildings. This would be a variance for exterior siding materials on the northwest side, which will be required on the northeast and northwest sides of the proposed structure. The hearing on this matter is judicial in nature and will be conducted in accordance with special due process safeguards. And I now open the public hearing on a variance request from RLJ Land Development LLC. Before we begin, I'd like to give board members a chance to reveal any possible disclosures or conflicts. I'd like to remind the board that a conflict of interest has a stricter definition with a quasi judicial matter than a general legislative matter. If an individual board member has a strong personal interest in a case, he or she must not participate in this case. Disclosures might include site visits, ex parte communications with any person, including county and town staff and consultants, specialized knowledge related to the case, family, business, or other relationship with the applicant or an affected person, financial interest in the outcome, or any other relevant information. Are there any disclosures to be made by members of the board?
I have none.
The chairman of the Town of Sylva Board of Adjustments, and me at this moment, is there anyone other than the applicant and the county and town staff who wants to be a party to this action? Is there anyone withstanding who wishes to be a party to this action? No, that was a no, right? There's no one else here. Great. So I will need to swear in all persons, including county and town staff and consultants, as well as those with any standing, of which there were none, who intend to present evidence at this time. Those who wish to give testimony in this case should have signed up to do so. All those wishing to give testimony, please stand and raise your right hand to be sworn in. On completion of reading the oath, you'll be asked to answer yes or no. All right, we'll start with you. What is your name, sir?
Joshua Moss.
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to this board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Michael Poston.
Michael, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Paige Dowling.
And Paige, do you swear or affirm that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Thank you all. The order of business for this hearing will be as follows. We'll start with a staff presentation of report. Then the applicant presentation of evidence and witnesses. Any other parties withstanding presentation of evidence and witness, of which there were none spoken earlier. We'll have time for rebuttal and then closing statements. If anyone wants the board to see written evidence such as reports, maps, or exhibits, the witness who is familiar with the evidence should ask that it be introduced during or at the end of their testimony. Sworn parties may cross-examine witnesses when questions are called for. And before you begin any testimony, please identify yourself for the record. We will begin with the staff presentation of report. Evidence for exhibits will be the application and supporting documents and the staff report.
Good evening. So, Mr. Mayor, my name is Michael Poston. I'm the planning director for Jackson County. I'm here to present the variance staff report request. I believe all of you have a copy of that report. I think as you mentioned earlier, Mr. Waldrop, that this is project is for Catamount Fitness. The applicants are LJ Land Development LLC. The property location is 423 Jackson Plaza in Sylva with PIN number 7641-19-7590. The property is zoned general business. The applicant is seeking a variance from the sections mentioned earlier, section 7.2C2 design standards for lots, and section 7.3.c exterior materials for the buildings. You have, as Board of Adjustment, you have the ability and authority to authorize variance from the terms of this article, and it's administered through this board and through this process. The relief from the requirements of this ordinance, where strict application of a particular requirement will create a practical difficulty or unnecessary hardship prohibiting the use of the land in a manner otherwise allowed under this ordinance. That is the essence of a variance request. However, in no event shall the Board of Adjustment grant the variance that would conflict with state code, would allow the establishment of a use that's not otherwise allowed in the particular zoning district, or which would change the zoning district classification or the district boundary of the property in question. This request would do none of those things. Staff has been able to review the application. As you can tell, here's the property location. The background is that the property, it's 1.4 acres of land area bordering Jackson County north to the northeast and vacant land to the west and northwest sides of the property. And the actual standard that they're requesting a variance for is the following. Exterior materials permitted for non-residential buildings shall include but may not be limited to at least 85% of wood, brick, stone, cement board, stucco, and high-quality metal products when approved by the planning board. Additions and new construction shall use facing materials that are compatible in quality, color, texture, finish, and dimension to those common on the surrounding parcels. Under no circumstances shall metal siding, unfinished concrete block, or vinyl siding be allowed. Metal clad or covering may be used as an accent material and cumulatively may not exceed 15% of each exterior wall area with road frontage. And so the applicant has, at least with staff, has submitted a preliminary site plan. And these are the sections of the building that would be covered by that facing requirements. And this is the latest elevations that planning staff has received. And the applicant, certainly correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is the northwest. Okay.
We submitted a new plans change.
Okay, well, and then I'll rely on those plans then, certainly. But, and then this is the preliminary architectural material sheet that was received by the county, highlighting materials that would meet the town's ordinance requirements. Based on all the submitted requirements by the applicant or submitted documents by the applicant, requirements for a variance applications and met for the review of the town Board of Adjustment. The required findings are found in Article 3, Section 3.8 of quasi judicial procedure, 3.8.b for variance. This comes out of the town of Sylva's code of ordinances, and this is the process by which the town will make this decision today. which is upon receipt of the request for the variance from the zoning administrator, the Board of Adjustment shall hold an evidentiary hearing on the request, which we are doing here today. After conducting the hearing and within 45 days, the Board of Adjustment may deny the application, conduct an additional public hearing on the application, approve the application, or approve the application with additional conditions. A concurring vote of 4/5 of the members of the Board of Adjustment shall be necessary to grant the variance. In granting a variance, Board of Adjustment may attach such conditions to the approval as deems necessary and appropriate. They also may attach conditions in order to reduce or minimize any injurious effects of such variance upon other property. And those conditions and safeguards must be reasonably related to the condition or circumstance that gives rise for the need of the variance. Any approval or denial of the request shall be accompanied by written findings of fact supporting the conclusion that the variance meets or does not meet the standards set forth in section 7.3.B3. In addition, in making these findings, going through this process, you'll find on the second page of the staff report, section 3.8.B.3, the required findings. These are the findings that the Board of Adjustment shall not grant the variance unless and until it makes all the following findings. A, carrying out the strict letter of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. It shall not be necessary to demonstrate that in the absence of the variance, no reasonable use can be made of the property. B, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Hardships resulting from personal circumstances, as well as hardships resulting from conditions that are common to the neighborhood or the general public, may not be a basis for granting the variance. A variance may be granted when necessary and appropriate to make reasonable accommodations under the Federal Fair Housing Act for a person. C, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. The act of purchasing property with the knowledge that circumstances exist that circumstances exist that may justify granting of a variance shall not be regarded as a self-created hardship. The requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of this ordinance, such that the public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. And finally, the last standard that you have enumerated, a variance is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance and preserves its spirit. That is, the applicant is not seeking to establish or expand or extend a non-conforming use. Moreover, the existence of a non-conforming use is the same or in any other zoning district shall not constitute a reason for granting the request of variance. And you can see that we have some additional information about the contact that planning staff has had over the past couple of years with the applicant, discussing the project and the requirements of the project.
All right, I don't have a copy. I'll be coming.
They will answer any questions that or
Do you have, you have any? I'm sorry, so I just be clear, is that the end of what?
Yes, sir.
Presentation is?
yes, correct.
Okay, so I did have questions about, one time was having a hard, according to the plans. I think I got confused by, perhaps it was the reference. So we've got up is north, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so the southeast side is
Right.
here, northeast, northwest.
Yeah.
And the variances is on,
The northwest.
oh, just
On this side plan.
this over here?
No, the where the blue line is. These are the areas that would require the treatment. That's the side of the building that they're asking for the variance.
Oh, it's clear up. So that's different than what I'm talking about. So,
So if you look at the property, so that's your triangle. And so that's the,
Turning right there.
yeah, you got it.
Okay.
So we're looking at this, so that's the same way. So this is So it's gonna be this side right
I
here.
thought the building was,
You got it right here.
I thought this was the building.
There's two.
There's two buildings.
Yeah.
I got
On
it.
the side.
Oh, okay, so it's just this back side up here?
Correct.
Oh, I got you. So this is the frontage road here? And this is the frontage road, right? So,
Well, this is the driveway. This is, you know, you've got, this is within it's within the development.
okay, so if it's just there, so they're gonna have the frontage road on the front here and the frontage road here, and then this back side. So that's still facing,
It's your roadway, yeah.
is there any question that they're gonna do they're gonna put the good material on this side and this side, right?
That's what
This side is gonna have good material and this side is gonna have good material?
that's the parking lot right there. So the
I
facing there,
thought here was building.
that is, but
Oh, where I was, okay, so
Yeah.
this side of the
Yeah.
building,
so yeah, but the variance request is really about this building right here, and this is sides. That's the side that the Board of Adjustment's being asked to consider the variance for.
it's only that back side.
Correct.
And so there's no, so going back to this one, this one's gonna have,
That one's not that building's not in question. It's this one right here, Eric.
okay, and are they building both buildings to begin with?
I'm sure I don't know what the applicant can probably tell you the sequence of which buildings they're gonna build first and how they're going to proceed with that. But the site plan would just indicate that both buildings could fit on the property and meet the standards. Site design standard.
Cameron, are we allowed to ask a question?
So if I'm looking at this right here, they only see one building.
Right, because that building would probably, from that vantage point, I imagine that from that vantage point, it may not show the second building, so you might not, you have to look through that building to get the other one.
Where am I standing if I'm looking at it from the?
Is this the,
Or should I ask?
yeah, I think that would be I think that's what the applicant provided. I think that'd be something.
Your mayor pro tem is in, he wants us to step in, yeah, I guess, in order
Yeah.
to say that we want,
Yeah, and if you'd like to offer evidence, you need to be sworn in as well.
Well,
I'm just gonna question.
Yeah.
So I guess,
Okay.
and I was just, I guess my question, you guys feel free to step in. I think this is the time any of us can ask questions of mine.
Well,
Yeah.
actually, we should start with cross-examination by the applicant of Mr. Post.
Order.
That's, I was just trying to say.
Yeah.
Um. So I understand that you will make a recommendation to the board based on your report, review of all materials, correct?
That's correct. The recommendation that we're making is that the application is complete and can be reviewed. We don't make staff has not made a recommendation about whether or not the application should be approved or denied. That happens through the process.
So you won't do that.
No, we do not do that. And the report does reflect that. The staff findings is just limited to the completeness of the application itself.
And with regard to the diagram we're looking at, and I think what Mr. Lydell had a question about is the long blue dotted line is the side of the building we're talking about. And that sets up above Concept Road Code Road, which is frontage road for purposes of this issue.
Michelle, I do need to swear you in if you're gonna cross-examine the Mr. Post.
I think she can,
Yeah,
she doesn't have to be sworn in. She's not giving testimony. She's
Right.
just asking.
I'm asking
Okay.
questions as the attorney.
Okay.
And I think if I get sworn in, we ethically have to report it to them. But, no, I don't want to do that.
We have sworn in attorneys in the past.
And that's probably not a good idea, but I'm asking the
You're
questions.
just asking questions, right?
I'm just asking questions. So I want to clarify that that is the only side and that the frontage is Grindstaff Cove Road. And it sits on the embankment above it, correct?
So this is the only side that the applicant is asking for the variance from. That's what my comments to Mr.
And
White.
that sets above Front South Cove Road.
Yeah, the property sits above,
And
shown there.
on that map showing relation to where the building is, where Front South Cove Road sets.
Front South Cove Road up here.
And the building is going to be back near the middle of, I call it a triangle, is that correct?
It's a good description as I can come up with. Yes, ma'am.
More or less, okay. And with regard to the code, you're familiar with this pretty ordinance. The placement of materials on that side of the building would only be required if it's visible from a primary frontage road.
That's what it says.
That's all I have. Thank you.
So do we have any additional questions from the board or the town attorney for Mr. Post?
I have a question. So what's facing the highway, the 4-lane, meets the requirements of the order? Is that correct?
What I would tell you is that what has been submitted to the planning department at this point in time, and we don't have we have documents submitted, but we've not issued zoning permit. I believe that this is will be a part of that submission once this determination is made. But the documents we do have suggest that there's going to be treatment on both sides of these, as staff has determined would be required by the ordinance.
Those two sides.
Yes.
Do not meet the order.
No, that's what would be required. What they're asking, what the variance request is relief from the standard that northwest side having to meet that standard.
And if I understand the law has been read, what we would need to hear to prove this is proof that that ordinance provides an unfixable hardship. Is that correct, Fred?
That's one of the things, but we're gonna get there. We still need to have evidence presented here.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any additional questions for Mr. Poston?
In this diagram, the wall, as you showed with the blue that comes down,
Mhm.
that opposite side, down towards the bottom left, would that be visible from any road frontage?
The side,
The down, yeah, right down.
that's not the determination that we made.
And there's no variance being requested for that wall. It's just the two with the.
Well, it's not the two, it's just the one, it's the northwest. The determination by staff is that the northeast, what's shown in blue would need to be treated.
Mhm.
That was that, and then the variance request is that they're requesting is to seek relief from that standard along the northwest wall. And I understand surely the applicant may have a different building design than what this one shows today, but this is the site plan that we're working off of, and so that would still be the same visual.
President, I'm sorry, I got turned around, so I'm gonna approach you again. So to be clear then, this is the side that requires the better material, because you can see it from the frontage roads. This side, right, these sides back here are the sides you can't see from the frontage roads, and so those actually don't have to be wood clad, or these can be metal. This can all be, this can be all metal, and this can be all metal, and planning boards and agreement, I mean,
Yeah, so I mean, so that can, the material list will not apply to those sides. The only two sides that have been requested would be those. And I think that's and again, the request is to reduce or exempt that side from being treated.
So they just want to do, I mean, he just wants to do just one side of the.
That's the request they had, so.
What's next?
If there are no additional questions from the board, then the applicant may now give a presentation of evidence Any witnesses? Do you have any other exhibits not already admitted?
Yes, we do, and we'll introduce them through him. Were you through with the staff testimony?
Yes.
That's it,
Showed you with that.
right?
Okay, fair enough. Just I'll leave it up here for you.
No problem. So we'll have Mr. Moss get the final, ask questions. You may need to go over to the board. And you'll click over to
Which one do you want first?
the,
All the pictures for the videos or
no, let's do the packet.
before?
The addendum. If you'll click through, let's find where we need to be. I want the new group. Oops.
Broke it.
It's gonna be, and it's just keep going one. Here you go. So you saw the earlier testimony by Mr. Boston, the building drawings. Do these differ from those?
Just the roof line, yes.
And that's the only difference?
There was a cut in on the old building. We filled that in, so it's now 150 feet long by 70 feet wide on all dimensions.
So the only thing as of now, the new revisions is the roof line.
Correct.
We would still have the longer part of the building facing Grindstaff Coast Code or above it.
That's correct.
Okay, in which area is that?
So that would be,
If you need to go up there.
yeah, I'll just walk up. So the space facing Grindstaff Cove Road is this northwest side.
And explain the structure of that side.
Okay, so you guys have some pictures, I'm sure, in your packet there. On this side of the building, there is space for a parking lot. However, slightly off to the side here is an embankment. And so there's a very steep bank going down toward Staff Over. So the steepness there was somewhere around 36%. So it's pretty steep. And there was a height difference between the road and the actual property line, the wood line, somewhere around 40 feet. So it's a straight up slope there. And that's just right off to the outside of this building.
Will you click back to the design structure itself where it lays on the property?
Well,
Sure, exactly where it is.
that's all I've got there.
It's the only four that were on that attachment you sent me.
Can we put the diagram back up that Mr. Boston was looking at? I don't know which section it was in. You know where it is, Mr. Boston?
In the presentation that I had. I don't know, I don't know where it's on there.
She's looking for it. There you go. Thank you. So in relation to the embankment you spoke about, oops. There. Okay, there we are. Sorry. So in relation to the side of the building that you're asking for a variance for, there we go. And you just mentioned the parking area. Will you show on that diagram where that is?
So, we're asking for the variance on this side of the building, okay? The, wood line is here, follows along to the dotted or slotted yellow lines there. Parking lot continues on over to the edge of the property. At this point, it drops down 40 or so feet down to Grindstaff Cove Road, which would be slightly out of the picture up here, but is adjacent to the property. So you're looking up from the road to see, well, you only see this line. Well, what we're trying to say today is that you can't see the building because of how far it's set back away from the road and the steepness of the bank.
And the parking area you pointed out, is there also another area in relation to the parking area? Or
Sorry.
a food truck or?
Oh, yeah, so there is a food truck position closer to the wood line than is the building, so from the road, you may be able to see the edge of that, but you won't be able to see the actual building. It's not visible from the road because of the angle in which you're looking up. And the setback from the property line to the building at its farthest is roughly 120 feet. You're looking up and back. You'll be able to see that from the road.
And is there a sign now on the corner of the property?
There currently is up in the very top corner. There's an old sign from Western Sizzlin. You can kind of see that one from the road, but again, the building is roughly 120 feet farther away from the road than that sign is.
Those times higher too.
Right. Yes, sir. I can't use that. It's has to be taken down. I have no sign, no visibility from the road.
And you mentioned wooded area. What are you speaking of? What kind of wooded area? What's the
So
name?
along the entire property line. Of course, all this back here is mountainous. This is undeveloped residential property. Along this line here is thick woodline. It's all trees, shrubs. You drove by there right now, you can't see through the trees, even when there's no shrubs or there's no leaves or anything on the trees. So it's extremely dense tree line all the way across.
And to the left of that tree line, is that your property?
No, that's someone else's property. That's the Grindstaffs and then Holland. So there are two separate properties that are still in front of mine before you get to Grindstaff Cove Road.
That tree line could be cleared by other property owners or something like that.
I doubt it because of erosion. It's an extremely steep thing. I'm not a professional there, but I don't think that would be possible.
And do you know how long it's been since that lot has been used for anything?
3 years. Western Sizzlin burnt down. Sitting vacant.
And back to the building itself, talk about the type of materials that the building will be made out of.
Okay, so the building is, of course, a metal structure. It will have metal siding on all four sides. We have no problem putting the sod on the front side facing parking lot, facing the shopping center, which you can see on the right hand side. That was a new tech poly wood along with some stonework. So that was what we planned on these two sides. However, the sides, so we don't have to put cladding on all of the entire length of the building because no one's ever going to see it. The front of the building will have facade. The rest of it is a metal structure.
The same problems over here. I'll get them, it's okay. So, we would submit that additional exhibit with the new roof line. In addition to what you have for the record. Also, I'm going to have this provides a couple of other pages. Let you look at those, explain what they are, and then we'll show to the board, because I don't think they're up there.
these didn't get submitted in time or didn't. We changed the roof line, some issues we had with the building, manufacturer itself, so we ended up with a planted roof, shed style roof, so this will be the front side of the building facing parking lot, facing the, shopping center there. So that's with the new tech Hollywood on the front of it, of course, windows and all the other things that match the wire pieces. And of course, we have a corner shot here or a side view of what that side would look like. With the awning, there's large garage doors, there's other glass doors all the way along the side, so it's not just nasty looking doors. And of course, doesn't show it in this picture, but the wood line, of course, is here. So this building is encapsulated in trees and mountain.
Is that
Be able to
the,
see.
I'm sorry. Did you
So-
finish?
Yeah.
Is that the side of the building facing or above Bryan Steph Cove Road?
Yes, correct. This long side is the one that is above.
I would go ahead and submit those two additional exhibits. I think we have those. Thank you. That's it. We're gonna for just a minute. Next to a table. Podiums.
Yes. Question. What was the alternative material that was on the side instead of the clad? Was that the black glaze roof?
No, that's for the bottom layer, the runs around the bottom, it's roughly 2 feet. So the polyclad wood looking material would have been across the entire side, 150 feet long by 22.5 feet tall.
And what's the alternative to that?
Alternative, is anything that we can use. There's stucco, there's lots of options. However, we're asking that we don't have to put anything on that side because we're not gonna be visible. Right? No one's ever gonna see that side of the building.
You still have more evidence to present?
Just a little bit more.
Okay, yeah, let's hold our questions until they, completed offer their
Thank
evidence.
you.
Thank you.
I don't want to beat a dead horse on this, but you mentioned the steep grade, and I know that there are exhibits in your packet. One that shows the grade from the actual GIS plat, which is exhibit 7. And also with that, an exhibit 8 for the cross section where the steepness was actually calculated. If you'll talk about that, how you arrived at the steepness ratio.
Well, it's just using the topo maps, seeing what height the actual street level is versus what the top property line is. So kind of flat across from the road to that point is the difference there.
And what is that grade again?
336, I believe, right on the drop.
And is it correct then that you look up the embankment from South Cove Road?
Yes.
And then the building is how much further back from the edge?
From the top portion of the building, it's roughly 100 to 120 based on final design. The top portion of the building is 120 feet roughly from property line where you can see the edge.
If we can go to the photographs, so let's do the videos first. Thank you. We're gonna have a couple of videos here that will be evidence as well. And I have to give Amanda kudos for getting this all on there so that she can put it up there today. It's a chore. Oops. Get to the photos. There we are. We go through the photos and then the video.
We need to do the photos first.
She could walk in front of them.
I did play it earlier when I was in here, so. It's fine, but. So you don't mind to do the pictures. I'm gonna go reload them on the document.
Okay, we can do the pictures. That's.
How do you?
Go back.
Maybe is that the first one, Amanda? There we go.
I use your clicker and see if that works. Okay, that's the first one.
That's the first one.
Okay. So, Mr. Moss, do you have photographs that you're familiar with that no depict what we're gonna say they do here today as far as the lot and the property? And what is this first photograph depict?
That's the picture of the current sign that is along the property line we were discussing, which is above Bryan Staff Cove Road, and a reference point for where the building would sit. So you would say that the building would be 120 feet farther away in place. That's the farthest most point of the property.
Before we go to the next photograph, I should have asked you this. Where is the front of the building in relation to Jackson Plaza and your parking lot there? Where's the front
So
of
the
the?
front of the building would be facing this way.
And do you access it from this side of the lot or the other side of the lot?
The other side of the lot.
And is that closest to Jackson Plaza, the end of the strip there?
Yes.
Okay, so that's where the actual building will be. And does the private access road that comes up from Grindstaff? Describe how it comes up.
So the private access road does come off of Staff Cove Road, somewhere way down here, and it does pass along and eventually up to where you would take a right hand turn, come into the plaza. And you would be facing at that point from the other buildings there.
And as you come on down from there, where do you go to get to the front of your proposed building?
So you would follow the very front of all the buildings, and so on. You would follow the road directly in front of them to pull straight into the building.
And about when was that photo taken, if you recall?
That would have been early summer, so roughly April, May.
Last year?
Yes.
If you'll continue. And just tell us what the photographs depict.
Okay, so you can still kind of see it right here. That's the same sign that we were just looking at from a different angle. So we are a little bit farther, of course, away from the sign now. We're at a point where roughly you would start seeing the corner of our building here facing it. So that's how far away from the tree line the building will be.
Okay, if you'll continue. Okay, if you'll describe that.
Okay, so another picture of the wood line, of course, the sign would have been farther along this way. It's just following the edge of the property here. So down way below that would be the road coming into Center. And then beyond that and down the hill would also be South Cove Road. That's
And
that reference point from the tree line standing on the edge of the property.
continue. And describe that as well.
Okay, so this would be almost directly at the sign that we were looking at earlier. So that's the edge of the property there, and that is the view looking toward the entrance to Jackson Plaza, which of course is right here. So even up to this point, you still would just barely be able to see the front of the building, not the one that we're asking the variance for, but the front. of the building.
Continue. It's a little blurry.
And just
If you can describe it.
just another picture of the sign. I'm not sure
Okay.
why that one's there, a little blurry. Again, another picture from the wood line edge of the property. This one is a little bit farther set back with the back corner. There's nothing but mountain behind it.
Continue.
All right, this is a photo taken from one of the videos that we took, looking at the shopping center, as you exiting Sylva exit there. So as soon as you get off the highway, I pulled over and stopped and took a shot of where the property is, which is behind those trees. You can see there's a little bit of a gap of parking lot here, which would be right in front of Roses. So in the summertime, you can't see anything. Just curtain of trees.
Continue.
Another shot from roughly the same area, a little bit farther down toward the actual exit. So now we have a larger opening. We still cannot see where my building would be sitting, which would be back in this corner.
Just continue on.
Another small window up here, if you will, into the parking lot, a little bit further down the ramp. And here we are now on Grindstaff Cove Road. We've come off the exit, passing under the highway here, and it's the first view that you get of the shopping center. Which you guys can see the lots of ponds here. And then, of course, that building extends over. My property is, again, hidden completely from sight. Another shot from different angle from coming down the ramp. That's the only opening you can see staring directly onto the Jackson Plaza sign and storefront there.
Keep going.
Another angle coming up under the overpass there, again, hidden from Grindstaff Cove Road. Okay, and this is a shot from Grindstaff Cove Road as you are entering onto the highway, coming on the ramp going toward Waynesville. That's a look back shot from that ramp to see what you can see. Again, opening for Jackson Plaza, but still cannot see property. City.
Okay.
All right, so now we are sitting at the base of the Justice Center here. Grindstaff Cove, of course, is cutting across here. The entrance into my property, that's the road that goes up and around. So you're staring at what would be the view from that space in the summertime. Again, completely invisible to sight from. Right,
Do we have a few more?
that was it.
Okay, that's it. I would go ahead and submit all those photographs. They're all in one package. That's evidence. Exhibits.
Videos that we've taken were taken recently so that there's minimal foliage. See, there's still a curtain of trees when we get to it. But that would be, of course, the difference between the summer and the winter months. You can see the difference there between seasons, the view that's available.
to use this, to show it to. Space bar.
All right. I'll have to know if you can make it, or it'll make it full screen.
It is enlarged.
It is,
It's just the way it was sent.
That's fun.
if you wanna, is it okay?
If I approach this up here.
Yes.
So this is coming away from, this is going toward my property from downtown Sylva, along Grindstaff Cove Road. My property will be on the right-hand side. This space bar. See the side of the Justice Center there. So we're now looking up toward the property. Right hand side of the road. The entry signs, so that tree line at the very top is the edge of the property that we spoke about.
I believe you said you're building 120 feet back from the edge of that property line. Correct.
So you're looking up and you have to be looking.
You'd have to be looking through that pie
Yes,
shaped
correct.
piece of dirt to see.
Save our questions, to always. Send all the evidence.
So we're still coming up the ramp there, the stop sign. Stops on that.
So would you say that depicts what a driver of a motor vehicle would see as they go up that road?
Correct. If you're sitting in the passenger side.
Yeah. Thank you.
Got one more bit to work. We got one more here. So coming off of the Sylva exit, similar to the pictures that I showed you already, we're coming off the exit and traveling down under the heading toward. Should be able to see shopping center. You come down toward. You can see how steep the grade is. You can look up. Entrance, so you'd be almost looking directly at it.
Okay, we'll get those in a format for you. Let me back up. Those were made recently. You said that would be in January of this year and earlier this month.
Correct.
We'll get those in a form that you'll have to be able to introduce into evidence, but I would introduce them then.
Okay.
I think that's all. I have just a minute this time. No questions.
The board, adjustments, or the town attorney have any additional questions based on that evidence that was presented by the applicant? Do we have any video of the or photos from the highway? The building? Kind of seeing that angle, it seems like that would be.
It does.
Those seem to be all Grindstaff Cove. I'm wondering if it's visible from the highway, leaves off the trees.
Couple from 74.
Yeah, we do have
Yeah.
stuff from 74. I didn't have any winter ones, but the ones that I showed earlier were from 74 in the summertime.
Yeah, I'd be looking for specifically winter ones. That would be my point of curiosity, would be what it looks like from the highway in the wintertime when the trees are opened up.
However, we are looking to get the variance based on what you can see from the frontage road. frontage road is Grindstaff Cove Road, not Highway 74.
I have a
Did
question.
you find them?
Oh, the summer ones?
Yeah.
I thought you were saying
From the
one
house.
specifically from, so here you are basically, you can see how many trees are there, foliage or not. Extremely hard to see anything. You can't even see the shopping center. There's the best gap that you can see from the highway. You still wouldn't be able to see my building. You can see the corner of the current shopping center here. You would only be able to see the front portion of my building either way. So you'd be looking directly at the front of it and not the long side that's on the cliff line. It's just the one seeking variance. Yeah, another tiny little window in that same space. Go back under.
The last question.
Yeah, about the evidence presented.
Okay. So, I would assume that the reason you're applying for a variance is because the planning department deemed that side of that building visible from Grindstaff Cove Road somewhere.
Correct.
And that somewhere is probably right here. And it's probably got something to do with the fact that those trees that are there now don't belong to you, so you can't give any assurance that they'll always be there. Anybody that owns them can cut them down. So that's where the planning department took their position with that. Am I correct in that, Mike?
I think we just took the position that qualify for the frontage road would have visibility or could have visibility.
So if y'all had deemed it was not visible, then he wouldn't be needing a variance. Is that correct?
Right, if we didn't think that there's primary visibility, there would be standard.
I will speak to that and as to what we can view for future plans or not. I think that's one of the arguments, see, you may want to do that as well. I can't do it now, but I'll do it.
In my mind, if there was a hedge planted to hide it on your property that you control to stay within compliance of the ordinance, then I can see that. Can't see you having any guarantees that those trees that you do not own will always be.
This would be the time just to ask questions about the evidence that they've presented. Is that correct, Eric?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's gonna, are you framing that as a question or?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my position is, in order to always comply with the ordinance, those trees would have to always be there.
I'm gonna go ahead and.
You don't own it.
Can, because I think, and Eric probably knows this as well, when you're looking at a variant, you have to look at present conditions, not future conditions. And we can argue that. I can find the law for it, so we look at the way it is now, not what it could be or will be, because that's all we can look at, the rest of it is speculation. And I'm sorry if I spoke out of turn.
Well, yeah,
We were sort of getting to a point where we're gonna go somewhere for a long time.
currently, we're just asking questions about the evidence presented by the applicant. We're not, questions would be the key to expand on any evidence that was presented. Not to take a position on what might happen in the future or anything else.
I guess I have a question or two. Tell me why. I don't know what we've got. If we could go back, I guess, to the site plan. I don't know if you can get to that. Okay, so this over here isn't a building at all, right?
It is.
But this is the building though.
Are you asking?
Oh, yeah, sorry. My apologies.
This is, So this is the building here, right?
Correct. The other one is,
Parking, and then it says,
it could be a building in the future. Correct.
right, okay, so what we're dealing with is this, and this right here, correct me if I'm, okay, so you've got Grindstaff Cove Road that runs basically here, is that right?
It's much farther away. You still have to be on the other side of the Holland property.
Okay.
So the road is
And
much farther.
The courthouse, Justice Center, that faces that directly, right? Isn't the face of the Justice Center the same face as this one?
Roughly, probably. I
Okay.
don't know about that building.
And then tell me why this is, so then you've got over here is the shopping center, right?
Correct.
Basically, and it runs pretty much in the same straight lines, right? Like that. All right, so tell me why this is not frontage road and that's the frontage road.
I think that's their interior driveway.
You don't think that's the frontage road? I mean, because that's not the,
Parking lot.
right.
That's just one question, just to go back to try to clarify. Mr. Moss, if you will, the areas where Mr. Rydell were just pointing as far as your property line or within your property boundaries, correct?
Sorry.
The areas where Mr. Rydell were just pointing in front of the building are all within your property boundaries.
That's correct. Yeah, those are interior slots.
And where does the road actually come into your property on that day?
So the road directly in front of the buildings comes in here. So that's the, if you want to call it frontage road.
And is that the side of the building that you are covering, planning to cover?
Yes. Building.
Any other additional questions from the board or attorney? If no, since there are no other sworn parties, then this would be an opportunity for closing statements from each party who presented evidence. And you may give a 3-minute or less closing statement.
Who goes first?
Well,
Staff doesn't have any.
staff,
Okay, then I'll make a closing statement. Basically, the ordinance we're looking at says if the property's facing or it's visible from a primary frontage road, that it has to have a flag covering over it. So I think the evidence we presented is substantial and tends to show that there is no clear line of sight from Grindstaff Cove Road, which is the primary frontage road we're talking about for purposes of this issue. And part of that is due to the steepness of the bank. Part of it's due to the tree line and vegetation is there. And part of it's just the topography itself, the shape of this piece of property and how far back the building will be set on it, so that you saw from the videos, how are you going to see it? I think that meets the undue hardship portions of the ordinance, looking at, and also the intent and the purpose of the ordinance, which was to have structured and consistent development and be consistent with the neighboring properties, which obviously the only real neighboring property with anything on it is Jackson Plaza. So we're actually doing more than Jackson Plaza did, but they come under a different ordinance at a different time. Also, we're looking at this property just has not been developed in almost 30 years, probably for some of the same reasons. I would speculate a little bit on that, but it needs to be development. This is promoting the development without overburdening my client, without, and to be transparent, the cost of putting extra materials on that side of the building to some degree. I just, looking at it, can't see how that it harms the intent of the ordinance, which is to protect property and life and the intrinsic value and to make development consistent. It does all that. It's just not visible to the extent that the ordinance stretches. And it should be, that a request should be allowed for those reasons. Do you need to add anything? That's it.
Thank you.
I would add just what I said earlier, that we have to look at the way the property is now, not what it might be in the future. That's clear from state law and case law. And if you need to look that up.
Well, I don't need to look it up, you're the one making the argument, so if you have that, you're welcome to begin. I'm not familiar with that, I think it, I mean, I'm not.
We can't, otherwise it's speculative. We don't know what's gonna happen. It'd be like somebody, in an accident, they hurt their right leg, but their left leg might be hurt in the future, we don't know yet. We can't control it.
Does the planning staff have any other additional comments?
No, sir.
Does the board have any additional questions for staff? Mr. Poston. Is there any additional discussion from the board that would be questions for staff or the applicant? If there's no further discussion, do I have a motion to close the hearing? Motion to close the hearing. All in favor, raise your hand, say aye. That motion carries and the hearing is closed. Which would bring us to new business.
Yes. Yes.
What was the question? I'm sorry.
She knows.
Okay,
Everything's in public until our next regular board meeting. There is a closed session agenda item at the end.
unrelated, yeah.
Yeah, separate meeting.
All right.
Okay, do we have any additional discussion from the board that the board would like to have on the variance request application? This would be an opportunity to ask Mr. Ridenhour any questions, our attorney, about things that you might want to consider. None? Is there a motion from the board to vote on the variance request application? Well, we need a motion to vote on it now. Without a motion, we would not vote. Without passing a motion to vote on the variance request. Are our options to, I understand our options to be to make a motion and pass the motion to vote, or to continue to a later date? That unfamiliar with this portion.
You should vote, or you should, at this point, there should be a motion to vote or a motion to reopen a hearing if you've got questions that weren't covered.
I think I did remember seeing something that it could be continued. Where did I see it? And to help me out. Help me on the spot, so that when I.
So if there's not, a super majority present, you can continue it. If you've got a super majority present. If you didn't have a quorum, you could continue it. Or if you needed.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we vote on the issue and dispose of it.
There's a motion to vote on.
Can't make that motion, Mayor.
Oh, I can't make the motion.
Good try. I motion that we vote on the variance request application. I can't make that motion. All in favor of voting on the variance request application, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All those opposed? We have a passing vote to vote on the variance request application at 3-1. All right, in making our decision, the following are necessary in granting a variance request. All 5 of these must be approved for the request to be granted. So the first item that we will vote on is carrying out the strict letter of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. A vote in the affirmative would be stating that carrying out the strict letter of the ordinance would result in unnecessary hardship. So all who vote in the affirmative of that statement, please raise your hand. And the votes against that statement, please raise your hand. That was 2 to 3 in order.
It was actually 2 to 2. I'm not allowed to vote. That's just break tie.
No, I'm sorry, in the quasi judicial hearing, you cannot vote at all.
I can't vote it out.
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
So,
Is that correct, Eric? The mayor?
yeah, I don't think the mayor can vote, even in quasi judicial, I think it's 4 board members that are voting. And so.
What do you do when you have a tie?
Whether it doesn't matter in this case because it has to be.
Unanimous.
It has to be unanimous for the 4 board members. There have to be at least 4. There has to be at least 4 votes in the affirmative.
Item number 2, the hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Votes in the affirmative.
All in the affirmative, raise your hand.
Correct. All in the affirmative of that statement. The hardship results from conditions that are peculiar to the property, such as location, size, or topography. Votes in the affirmative. Votes against that statement. Item number 3, the hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant of the property or the property owner. The hardship did not result from actions taken by the applicant or the property owner. Votes in the affirmative. Votes against. Item 4. The requested variance is consistent with the spirit, purpose, and intent of this ordinance such that public safety is secured and substantial justice is achieved. Votes in the affirmative.
All in favor, raise your right hand.
All in favor, raise your right hand, correct.
Okay, 9. And then all in,
Votes against.
and that's 4.
Yes.
And the item 3 was actually 3 to 1 in the affirmative. Item 4 is 0 to 4, not in the affirmative.
Against, correct. Yeah, I got thrown off there. Item number 5, the variance is in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the ordinance and preserves its spirit. Raise your hand to vote in the affirmative. Votes against. So now I would accept a motion that we approve the request. Approve the request with conditions or deny the request.
The votes denied.
Yeah, the votes denied the request.
So
So
someone makes that.
I motion that we deny the request based on number 1, item 1. It's all of them actually, right?
Yes.
Yes. All 5 conditions would require a unanimous vote and did not receive that. So I motion that we deny the request. All in favor of denying the request, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye, yeah. The request is denied. And that would conclude that agenda item. Do we need to close the, I entertain a motion to close the meeting? Yes. Make that motion. All in favor of meeting, raise your hand, say aye. Aye. Meeting is closed.
At the end, it's the Board of Adjustment.